This is Aaron Davis, and here's my cultural food video for the African American culture. African Americans are one of the largest groups in the United States. Many African Americans originally came to the U.S. by force through slavery. Majority came from West Africa, and some came from the Caribbean, Central America, and East Africa. Today, more than one-half of African Americans live in the United States South, while the rest reside in northeastern and midwestern urban areas. Religion holds great importance in the African American culture. It can be a way to appease the struggles of daily life, such as work, school, and family issues. It also provides the African American community with a source of hope and fellowship. About 75% of African Americans belong to a church. The family structure of the African American community is very unique in the sense that it doesn't always include biological family members. The idea of extended family is something that has remained since the tribal times. One's family might include immediate family members like those in the household. It might also include family like grandparents and cousins, friends, and maybe even neighbors. Involving this many individuals in the family structure allows for additional support and even protection. A study assessing the origins of African American family structure have shown that the concept of an extended family has existed as far back as 1850 among free African Americans. The study also shows that being a single parent contributed to having an extended family. In African American households, fewer fruits, vegetables, dairy products, cereals, baked goods, and snack foods are purchased. Fast foods and fried foods are common. It has been shown that there are nearly 60% more fast food restaurants in predominantly Black communities. In healthcare, it is common for African Americans to seek care from a physician for symptoms rather than preventative measures. It is also common for African Americans to seek care from a physician after they have tried other home remedies. The traditional African American food items originate from a combination of African food from the 17th and 18th century, foods from slavery, and even foods from the Black South. Some of the common proteins include milk, beef, pork, chicken, catfish, crab, frogs, eggs, and black-eyed peas. Some of the traditional cereals and grains are biscuits, rice, and corn. Some of the traditional fruits and vegetables include apples, bananas, watermelon, broccoli, beets, greens, squash, and sweet potatoes. Some of the common seasonings include garlic, green peppers, hot sauce, and filet. Some of the common nuts are peanuts, pecans, and sesame seeds. The common beverages include fruit drinks, tea, and soft drinks. One of the most common fats is butter. The common sweeteners include honey, molasses, and sugar. For meal composition, African Americans usually consume 3 meals a day, with dinner being the heaviest meal of the day. There's often snacking in between meals. The role of food in the African American community is it works as a social catalyst, helping to bring the family together in a boisterous fusion of eating, laughing, and storytelling. It is pretty common to share food, so during holidays like Christmas, meals are prepared in buffet styles involving large quantities and servings. Some of the therapeutic uses of food involve tea from yellowroot shrub to cure stomachache, peppermint candy to help in diabetes, and raw onions to help with fever. For the adoption of food habits, a lot of the traditional food habits, like having large breakfasts, are no longer implemented. Along with some of the traditional food habits, a lot of the traditional foods are no longer used anymore. Some of these include pig's feet, chitterlings, okra, and yams. For the nutritional status, there's not a lot of information on it. This is due to the limited number of studies. The nutritional intake of the African American community tends to vary more by socioeconomic class rather than by ethnicity. For the influence on the U.S. diet, many of the unhealthy practices of the African American community have been adopted to many U.S. diets, such as meals that are fried and high in fat and meat intake. For one of my traditional food items from the African American community, I have decided to prepare fried chicken. This is a homemade recipe. In our culture, we season using our eyes rather than using specific measurements. The common seasonings are chili powder, paprika, garlic powder, seasoning salt, garlic salt, red cayenne pepper, and black pepper. Once the chicken is properly seasoned, it should be dragged through flour and evenly covered. Some also season the flour, but this isn't one of those steps that's necessarily mandatory. Once covered in flour, it should be set in a pan of oil and cooked for about 20 minutes or until golden brown. The oil should cover about half of the chicken. Here's an image of the seasonings. Here's an image of fried chicken. Looks good. Nice even coat to it. It's a little hard to see, but this is how evenly coated the chicken should be in flour. Now this is an image of the finished product. The chicken is a nice golden brown, and for a pro tip, you can apply hot sauce for an extra kick. Thank you for tuning in, and here is my works cited.